Hey, this better be live because for some reason it looks weird. This is ArmChair GM, the final stream before the festivities begin, young Tigo. It is an exciting time to be alive, to be a New York Jets fan.
The
draft is coming up. How are you, my fine feathered friend?
Didn't know I had feathers.
You do?
I am coming off. It seems like I'm always coming off of something. Right?
Yeah.
Like I must have the immune system of insert something with a very weak immune system.
Yeah.
Because I was just fighting for my life for the last 4 days. And today is finally the first day where I feel comfortable enough to be day-quilled up and just ready to talk Jets. Because like the title says, it's Christmas Eve.
It is.
The whole year builds up to tomorrow. This is where we win. Undefeated tomorrow. And we finally get to, and I think the big thing is that tomorrow we finally, all of the hullabaloo, all of the people who were pro this staff, negative this staff, whatever, we finally get to see the first glimpse of what this new regime is going to be, what they're going to do, how they're going to approach building this team. And that's freaking exciting.
It is. It is exciting. And like you said, we build up to this all year. Now, what a year it's been. A year ago right now, we were excited to get Aaron Rodgers back. We were, we had Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall and he was coming off the Achilles and we were excited. We were about to find out we're in many Monday Night Football games. We were as excited as we could possibly be. We go in right now. We were arguing about Brock Bowers trading up for Marvin Harrison or Neighbors or Odunze or taking a tackle. We were at each other's throats. The Bowers boys versus the tackle crew. Everybody was excited. Look at this. A year later, no GM that we know, brand new head coach, totally new quarterback. Justin Fields is the quarterback of the New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers is out there making waves, calling Aaron Glenn a weirdo on McAfee and all the other stuff. He still does. The Steelers are now in Aaron Rodgers limbo. Weird stuff. But this is what we build up to. And we get to find out really what these guys are made of, Tigo. Who are they? What are they going to do? Are they going to look? We got another defensive rookie head coach. Is it going to be that he just can't? He can't do it. He's got to go defense in the first. The value's too good. Are we going to see that? Do we see an aggressive team that makes some moves? Do we see them, very methodical, even timid, if you will, just stick and pick where you are, see what the best player that falls and take the safe route? Who will they be? It's going to be interesting to see, Tigo. I'm going to drop a poll in here, see what you guys think the Jets will do. But, Tigo, if you had to put your money on it, not with details yet, but what are you expecting from the Jets? Aggression, hesitation, caution, what?
While I go on my little spiel, check your microphone. I think it's coming in through the webcam.
Really?
Yes. I think that, I think they're going to – this is the thing that sucks with the draft is I think that, Moogs and Glenn are going to try to get aggressive. And I don't mean, aggressive like they're going to try to trade up. They might. But I think they're going to try to do something. Whether it's a trade up to go and get their guy, whether it's a trade back to try to accumulate more assets. I think they're going to try to do something. And I think they're really going to try. And we've seen the reports everywhere that that's exactly what a lot of these teams in the top 10 are trying to do. They are calling everybody. They are on the phones. They are working the phones. They are trying to get, hey, what happens if the draft falls in this situation? You want to come up to our pick? You want to, and we'll get into a lot of it today because obviously this is the last stream before the draft. This is the last time we can share our thoughts and our opinions. And just like every draft, it's getting wild with some of these takes with 4 quarterbacks going in the first round now. Imagine having that conversation at the beginning of summer. That's not even the beginning of summer, like when the offseason started. That would have been absurd. Now there's 4 guys going in the first round. Oh, and only one of them in the top 10. But I think that what we're going to see is ultimately them stick and pick at 7. And we're going to find out after the fact. Oh, they called. They tried to get up to 5. They tried to get up to 6. They tried to go and get their guy. When they got to 7, they tried to go back to 9. They tried to go back to 10. One of those 2 things is going to happen. Which one it is, I have no idea. I think we're ultimately going to stick and pick at 7, and then we're going to find out later in the same way that we found out that Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh were on the phones coming up for JJ. Find out that we were on the phones trying to go up and get the wide receiver last year. You know, we'll find that out after the fact, but I think we're going to make our pick at 7.
Yeah. So, guys, Tigo's leaning towards sticking and picking at 7. I put a poll up there in the chat for you guys to answer. I'm real curious to see what you think. Will they be most likely to trade back, trade up, go offense, go defense? Let me know what you think. And we'll close that poll in a little bit and see what we come up with. I want to get over here to Swamp Ranger checking in nice and early. Says, can't wait for Bean's reaction to Shamar Stewart at 7. Tigo, what would your reaction be with Shamar Stewart at 7?
It's again, there aren't very many picks that this team can make where I would like be like, what in the world are they doing? Shamar Stewart is an incredibly good player, but like that would tell me everything I need to know about what they think about the team. Like, you know what I mean? Shamar Stewart's not a bad pick. It just tells me like,
I don't know.
It just tells me like, oh, okay, like they don't really have a belief in this offense going in like Justin Fields isn't like the real, like this is just snake oil poison, right? Whatever it's called. Like it's a snake oil salesman. That's what they're trying to do with Justin Fields here. Like if that's the pick, you're just like, okay, cool. Like I get it now. Like you're just telling again, I think, okay, there's 2 picks at 7 that I'd be like, okay, I'm done. Fire everybody. And that's Jackson Dart. At 7, I think that would be like, nope, everybody gone.
Well, any
before even week 1.
7, truth be told.
No,
if it's Jackson Dart, if it's Jalen Milroe, I would lose it.
Would be that for me, and then that's really it. That's honestly, it's really it. It's like Jackson Dart or Jalen Milroe at 7 would get me. I'd be like, okay, fire everybody. Everything else, like if you were to say Malachi Starks at 7, I was like, well, we need a safety, and Malachi Starks is really damn good. And it's like, oh, you take Shamar Stewart. It's like, okay, like we don't know what JJ is, and he's a defensive-minded head coach, so like, I get it. Not the pick I would have made, you know. Yeah.
So Shamar Stewart is interesting because, you know, and we hear, you know, like all the draft nicks, you know, he's got all the athletes, he's got the profile that you want, right? He's got everything you want, except for one thing, which I really like, which is called production. You know what I mean? So that's like, it's key for me. It really is. I'm a big production guy. Now, once you get into the mids and late rounds, of course, you look at things, you're betting on guys, a lot of them, you know, they're going to be projects and, you know, you're kind of picking your poison, so to speak, you know, and you can bet on traits and all those kinds of things. But when you're up top, you have a top 10 pick. And I'm a believer with a team like us that has lots of holes in the first round in general. You gotta fill one of those holes. You don't take a swing on guys who did not produce in college. I don't give a shit. They can turn around and be great. You don't do it. You got to have some production. What did they do on the field? You know what I mean? Yep. So lots of, you know, there's like, I'm looking at it now. You know, in 2024, Stewart had 14 solo tackles, 17 assists. So he had 31 tackles, 6 of which for a loss. So tackles for a loss are good. He had 1.5 sacks. Is that my 7th overall pick? The answer is a resounding no. I don't care.
My thing is if you were in that
it wasn't an anomaly. It isn't. Well, I'm sorry, Tigo. It wasn't an anomaly. That was his best year.
Yeah. But what I was gonna say, like adding to that is, I don't think if you're the Jets, you can make that pick.
Correct.
There is a
And
different
that's what I'm saying.
situation if you are a team that fell on hard times and you happen to be in the top 10 or in the top 15. I think a great example of that is if San Francisco at 11 took Shamar Stewart, you would be like, that's a team that can take a swing on a guy like that.
Absolutely. The Ravens.
Because they're at 11 because everybody got hurt last year. Debo got hurt, Ayuk got hurt, Purdy got hurt, Kittle got hurt, the whole entire offensive line got hurt, everyone on defense got hurt. Like that whole, like them being at 11 is an anomaly. Whereas when you look at like some of the other teams in the top 10, like they're perennial top 10 picks. Like they've been here before recently, consistently. And the Jets are a part of that, whether we like it or not, a part of that group. And you don't want to end up in the situation that Jacksonville was in when they took Trayvon Walker, number 1 overall. Did he have all the traits in the world? Absolutely. Of course he did. But you're staring at a draft class, especially at the edge position, that was one of the best we had seen in years. Of the 5 guys taken in the first round, 3 of them are Pro Bowlers.
Right. Yeah.
3 of them are Pro Bowlers. You had the first pick. You didn't take one of them.
Yeah. And that's right. It's a great point.
Like you just hit the Lions. They were so glad that you messed up. They took one of them. The Jets are happy that the Giants messed up and they took one of them. And then the Chiefs were so happy that everybody else messed up and they took Karlaftis. All 3 of them were Pro Bowlers. I believe Karlaftis is a Pro Bowler, right? Has to be.
No, he's not. I don't think he is.
Is Karlaftis not?
No,
Should be.
So. Let's see. I don't think
right
so.
now. Check the private chat. I'll look it up. He is not a Pro Bowler. I'm sorry. 2.5 Pro Bowlers. I'm giving it to him posthumously because.
What do you mean? Wait. Well, what's wonky? No, my mic's hooked up. Everything's good.
It's not GreenBean.
It is. I'm telling you. I'm looking right at it.
It doesn't.
Hold
okay.
on.
Maybe my ears are wonky then.
Hold on. Let me see. No, it doesn't sound good. No, it doesn't sound good. But it's all hooked up. It's all hooked up right.
I'm just letting you know.
Let me see.
No, but still, like you just don't want to be in that situation. And I think that this big board, especially at edge, is really good. We're looking at another year where you have a lot of really good edge players. And if you take a guy like Shamar Stewart and like James Pierce Jr. goes to the Pro Bowl and Mike Green goes to the Pro Bowl and Michael Williams goes to the Pro Bowl, you messed up. Especially if you took him up ahead of all those guys. There you go. See, now you sound silky smooth.
What happened? My voice is back?
Now you sound
did, it's funny though, all I did was click out of it and click back into it.
Yeah, now you sound silky smooth.
There you go.
I mean, I know the dulcet, silky sounds of GreenBean in my ear. I dream about it at night. But yeah, no, I think, like I said, there's a lot of ways that the draft can go. I don't necessarily think this is the way it will go, especially like at 7. I think there's a lot of other players that this staff had leaned to or had shown that they would lean towards.
All right, we got a big dick super chat from Brian Bourne. He's going to jump everybody right here.
Yeah, got to.
Biggest
dick in the locker room.
That's right, man. I have a shirt. I gave it to my son. He's now in bands, but I have a shirt that says, I have the biggest dick in the band.
That's hilarious.
Nobody ever wants you to wear it, though. You know what I mean? None of your bandmates are like, nah. Anyway, Brian Bourne checking in says, just as an experiment, I wanted to know how much would we get if we trade all this year's picks for 2026 picks? For example, for next year, 12 round 7s, 6 round 6s, 4 round 5s, 2 round 1s, and would you get that? Well, look, I'll tell you what. Like, I don't know what you're doing with the 12 round sevens and all that fun stuff. But the other part of it, realistically, because this draft has more value than next year's draft right now, because it's right now.
Yep.
That said, it might not in a lot of people's eyes, because they're looking at the talent pool here and they're looking at the talent pool that's projected to be next year. So you never know. But theoretically, if you were just to say to somebody, hey, I'll give you the 7th overall pick for your next year's first and third. Like first, there are teams that are going to entertain that right now.
Yeah.
Especially teams that feel like they're close. You know what I mean? If I can get, so I don't have to give you anything this year. I just get your first, like that kind of stuff. I think it will be hard to predict exactly, but the general rule of thumb is that it's a round difference.
Yeah.
From year to year. So right now,
and every pick is a middle round pick. Every
right.
pick is 16.
Yeah, right. So like we have a top 10 pick. So it is very, very valuable. But like, for example, like, so our second this year, if I'm just giving you my second, it should net you a first next year. So that's what it would be. But that's pretty crazy stuff. Tigo, any interest in doing something crazy? Like, hey, we're just going to take this year as an evaluation year. We want one pick. We're taking a kicker in the 5th, that kind of a thing. But all we want is one pick. But we're going to go into this year. We're going to fill our holes with scrap heapy, whatever's going on out there. And we're just going to evaluate everybody. We got enough pieces. We're going to evaluate. Any interest in something crazy like that?
I think that there are parts of this scenario that really do intrigue me, especially in
right?
next year's draft. Like the first 4 rounds, having that many picks, it would be very, very enticing, because that's where you find a majority of like the players on your team. I could care less about 12 7th round picks and 4 5th round picks, because like what you're doing in that situation is you're just taking guys to come in for mini camp and then you're going to cut them. It's like a 53-man roster, and you might as well have like 30 picks right there. I did not do math well enough or quick enough to justify it, to see how many picks that is. But
look, real quick. So, all right, Brian, thank you for throwing. So he did this.
Yeah.
I see. I didn't connect that. My bad.
Yeah.
So he actually did this. That's what he came up with.
Yeah, when he traded back.
That's
sorry,
what he
all got.
I thought you were projecting that. I didn't pick that up. So he got 12 7s, 6 6s, 4 5ths, 5 4s, 4 3s, 3 seconds, 2 firsts. And
he still got Fitzgerald for you.
You're the best. That's amazing. Okay, I love it. I'll tell you what, though. You get those 12 7s, you better get to work on taking those.
You put those 12 7s and get yourself a 5th. Like,
that's right, man.
That's what you do there.
3 7s for a 5th. Who needs them? I'm open for business. Yeah, that kind of thing. That's great, Brian. That's super cool. And thank you for that big boy right there. We appreciate it, man.
I'd like to have the capital next year when we're going for a quarterback.
Yeah, going into next year, like if you did something, even if it wasn't your whole thing, right? So if you just kind of, but you did something like that. You said, okay, we're gonna keep a couple picks. We're gonna use our first and second this year to try to get capital for next year. And you went into next year's draft with 2 firsts, 3 seconds, 2 or 3 thirds. Like if you were able to do that in next year's draft, that would be some badass stuff, because if
that's
Justin
franchise changing draft, that's what that is.
Yeah. And then you allow a lot of contracts to elapse and you go to work in.
And we've seen something like that with the Jets. Like, let's not forget we had 3 first-round picks the other year. Like that's what this level of draft kind of does. We had 3 first-round picks and still a high second-round pick. Like, we traded all of our day 3 assets to come up and take 4 guys in the top 50.
Yeah, right.
That's what you're talking about.
Yeah,
4 guys in the top 50. That is franchise-defining picks, and that's exactly what we saw. We now have the building blocks of a football team because of 4 picks that we got in the top 50. Again, this is the definition of armchair GM stuff, right? Just absolutely going wild. But this is the draft class. Like, and it sucks that this draft class is so weak, but the roster is at a point and we have a new staff that everything justifies going, no. We don't need the picks this year. We need the picks next year. This is an evaluation year. Let's see who's sticking around. Let's see what's happening. I think it's very clear that the guys aren't going to get extensions this year, you know? And I get that ideology. They're not going to extend Garrett. They're not going to extend Sauce. They're not going to extend JJ. Like, they're not going to extend some of these guys. And they're going to say, we want to see these guys 1 year in our system. Part of me understands that mentality. And the other part's like, okay, but you understand that by delaying it a year, they're only going to get more expensive. But if we could trade back, if we can finagle it, if we can convince the Pittsburgh Steelers that Shedeur Sanders is the reincarnation of Tom Brady, that would be ideal.
Right. Well, dude, I'll tell you what. Look, they're all doing their evals right now anyway. So, like, there are teams that love him. You know, no, and they should. He's a good player, man.
Yep.
It's like, you know, there's a lot of just smoking. There's a lot of noise around him. But if he does slide to the Jets, it is an opportunity to get something done. Because a quarterback shouldn't be there at 7. And then look, who knows, might even be Dart. There could be teams clamoring for Dart too. So I'm really hoping the Jets can pull something off like that. Now I want to put this up. I saw this a little earlier. I don't think this is true, but I'm going to give it its space. So Alec is checking in saying, per source that is close with Woody Johnson, which is Woody Johnson's nephew, of course, they're hearing the Jets are taking Jody Barron, the cornerback from Texas. So I don't think this is anything. He's just saying stuff, but thoughts. The Jets go Aaron Glenn, defensive back. Maybe the plan, and this will be interesting to find out. You know, the Jets, when we signed Brandon Stevens, that first couple days he was listed as a safety, and they said, no, it's a mistake. It's a mistake. But if they usually do that, they wouldn't even say anything if it was no big deal. They wouldn't have to tell you it was a mistake. So what if they did do that? What if they pulled in Stevens? And Stevens is actually our strong safety right now. So we have our safety room filled with Cisco and Stevens, and we really have a hole at cornerback, not safety. And you got Aaron Glenn and the defensive back, and he wants his guy. We got Sauce Gardner, and he wants the bookend, you know, the lockdown cornerback group, the defensive back room to be done, and they take Barron with the 7th overall pick. How are you going to feel about that one?
See, we missed a super chat by E-Boogie before the big.
No, I got it.
Okay, cool.
I see it. Thank you, though.
Yeah.
I jumped E-Boogie, but I wanted to put this up before because we're talking mock, and there's a possibility that we'll end up doing it. So I'm leaving it for a second.
Cool. The one thing that I have is, okay, let's say if you are going to take a corner, the biggest question that I have is, why is it Jade Barron and not
Will Johnson?
Why is it not Will Johnson? Or not even Will Johnson, but like there are other. Here's the problem. Like Barron, a lot of these corners that are in this class, this is why I don't think that we're in the corner game, are zone coverage corners. So like Jade Barron is an exceptional athlete. And when you talk about a guy, like I don't even like really calling him a corner because like you can legitimately just say defensive back because that's what you can do with Jade Barron. Do you need a nickel? Cool. Put him at nickel. Do you need a safety? Cool. Put him at safety. Right. Do you need an outside corner? Cool. Put him at outside corner. He reminds me of a lot of the conversation, not the prospect, but the conversation that a lot of people were having with Cooper DeJean. Some people saw him as a nickel. Some people saw him as an outside corner. Some people saw him as a safety. And Jade Barron falls into a very similar camp of like, everybody's got to have their own cup of tea. But here's the thing. Nobody is going to argue that Jade Barron is exceptional in man coverage. He's good, but he is a zone corner. Like that's what he's best for. Cover 3, cover 4, those types of schemes that are running a lot of zone. If it was the Jets under Robert Saleh and we were still running his defensive scheme, that would make sense because he would fit in perfectly. Put him on his own half, like he gets his own third of the field. Totally makes sense. He plays over the top coming down. Jade Barron would be an excellent pick. But that's not the world we live in anymore. We live in a world where we're going to ask our corners to man up on these wide receivers a lot more because we're going to be blitzing a lot more. And that doesn't mean that we don't we aren't going to play zone. All I'm saying is last year we were playing 80% zone.
Yeah.
That's not going to be the case this year.
And I'm happy about it, by the way. I really am. I want some fucking contact at the line of scrimmage. That's what nothing bothers me more than on a 3rd and 3, we're given 5 yards of space, Tigo. I don't like it.
3rd and 3.
3rd and 3,
the
everybody.
most memorable parts of last season, or like the season before, that if you were to ask about the defense, everybody's going to bring up what? Quincy Williams blitzing up the dick and getting Russell Wilson. Like, do you remember that? Like that blitz that comes up out of nowhere and he destroys Russell Wilson for a fumble, or when Ashton Davis takes a guy right into and gets a safety. Like, when we send players, like, we have to start pressuring quarterbacks. I think quarterbacks have gotten worse at evaluating pressure and dealing with pressure. I think the quarterback play has gotten a lot worse. So, like, that's why schemes like Minnesota that are so blitz heavy, they blitz like 50% of the time. That's unheard of. And it works so incredibly well. And that defense has not a ton of superstars on it. If you go look at their defense, it's just like, they got some guys, but it's nowhere nearly as well built as some of these other defenses. But because they're just applying pressure to the quarterback so frequently and so consistently, quarterbacks can't handle it. The quarterbacks have gotten worse at just sitting in the pocket and reading the field and seeing where the pressure is coming and stepping up into the pocket. So, yeah, I think I see where they're coming from. I see what they're saying. Barron, this cornerback class just isn't the class to do that. There's not a man guy.
Class. You got to go. See, now the thing with Brandon Stevens is really interesting is that they did have him playing outside of his strong suit, right? Which is why they let him go. This is the defense we're playing. He's not really made for that. So we're going to let him go. And Aaron Glenn and Wilkes, they want to see more press. They want to see more man. And that's what his game is. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see that kind of stuff. Let's get to E-Boogie's super chat here. It is what he says here. He says, fellas, one last mock, please, Bean and T special. I don't know. Maybe we squeeze one in with the last 15, E-Boogie. How do you feel, Tigo? Want to do a lightning? A lightning. We'll do the tag team. We'll go back and forth. So all right. Maybe we'll do that, E-Boogie. Maybe we will, because I love a good lightning mock. I really do. So I'm going to close this poll, see what you guys are thinking about what the Jets are likely to do. So the question was, what will the Jets be most likely to do in the first round? Tomorrow, by the way, everybody.
Tomorrow night.
It is here.
Tomorrow around this time, we will know just how badly the New York Giants fumbled the bag.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think they should take a quarterback, but they're not. I mean, I know they got.
No, here's the thing. You're not going to be able to really maybe not how bad the Patriots fumbled the bag, because at 3, there's not really going to be a bad pick for them. Because if they get Abdul Carter, if they get Travis Hunter, those are good players. Those are really damn good players. That's not a bad pick. But we all know that the Patriots are going to get Ozzie Trapillo at 4.
No, they're not going to.
That's what they're going to do.
That'd be hilarious.
That's what they're going to do.
That'd be
because
fun.
Of course they are.
So the poll broke down like this, everybody. So 60%, that is a nice fat majority, go offense. They think the Jets are going to go offense in the first round, which I think is what they should do. Trade back 31%. Now remember, it's funny with these polls because I like, and then we do it in the mocks too. I want to ask what you think will happen, not what I want to happen. But people can't, a lot of they struggle, right?
Separate it.
You can't separate it because if I say that, I got to put into the universe what I want to happen, right? So I do get that. But I wonder if this is really accurate. But then go defense 7% and trade up 0%, thankfully. Remember that noise? The Jets were rumored to be aggressively looking to trade up with the Titans. the Titans. We wanted Cam Ward, everybody. Remember that? So gladly hope. I mean, look, it's still possible. We don't know. But lots of rumors about the number 2 and number 3 pick. The number, those teams getting lots of calls. That'll be
They're on the phones.
Yeah, you never know. It might be the Jets. It might be the Jets saying, you know what? We like Justin Fields, but we really want Cam Ward. That's what we want to do. We're trying to get up there. Maybe imagine they traded up and they took Travis Hunter. Could you imagine that? How would you feel about that?
That's a bold move. That's a bold move.
A guy now, if you're taking Travis Hunter, is he a cornerback or is he a wide receiver for you?
I think he's a cornerback at the next level.
Yeah, and then you can use him in packages. You know what I mean?
I think that's because when I look at Travis Hunter, I think was the best cornerback in the nation last year. I don't necessarily think he was but I don't know if he was the best wide receiver in the nation. He was a really good wide receiver, but he was the best corner in the nation. He would still be this high of a prospect if he wasn't a receiver. Like, that's how good of a corner he is, because when you look at his game, he is the perfect blend of, he is going to shut you down in zone. He's going to shut you down in man. He's got an insane knack for just finding the ball and getting turnovers in moments where he needs to do that. And so if you're looking at him, that's the best way to do it. And because he's just a weapon on defense. He's one of those players, I don't necessarily like calling him a corner. He's just we very rarely get to use the term weapon on defense. That's what Hunter is. Hunter is truly a guy that you can put on the field and just say, that guy doesn't catch any balls today. And he's like, cool, that guy doesn't catch any balls today, regardless of where they are in the field.
So having him and Sauce, Travis Hunter. Having him and Sauce, you like that idea?
I would love it. Again, it's a ballsy ass play. If you're gonna do it, like I said, get aggressive.
We did it for Revis.
This is the type of franchise defining move, because now you have 2 absolute shutdown corners, and now you put that edict to the test. Does defense really win you championships? Because that's the type of move. If you make a move like this, that's what you're stating. Defense is going to win me a championship.
Right. That's what you have. Absolutely.
That's what you're saying.
Yep.
Because to get to 2, because that's what you got to do to get him, that's going to cost you a 1 next year.
Yeah.
And so that means no quarterback next year.
Yeah, that's right. Think about that. And then Justin Fields flops.
Yep. But that's what I'm saying. You're saying defense is going to win me a championship. I'm going to score 21 points on defense. I don't care what my offense does.
It's terrible. You can't do it. You just can't do the trade up, everybody. So here's another thing.
Can you imagine Travis Hunter and Sauce Gardner on the same team?
Yeah. Now, I got a poll up there, guys. We're talking about some defensive guys right now. Now, another one that's out there is Mason Graham is an interesting one. Now, the consensus is that he's going to be gone before the 7th pick, right? And I think he's got the talent to warrant that and all that. But the Jaguars are the team rumored to be grabbing him, I think, in most circles, right, Tigo? You agree with that?
Yeah.
But now there's some smoke out there about the Jaguars could realistically be pivoting a little bit from that thinking and maybe grabbing a tight end like Tyler Warren, he's top 10 on most evaluators' big boards, just like big board, not positional. He did see. I've seen him as the 6th overall player. I've seen him in that area in the entire draft. So the Jaguars don't take Mason Graham and grab Tyler Warren. Number one, that takes one of the guys that a lot of us are focused on in this first round off the board, but it pushes Mason Graham to the 7th pick. Because remember, guys, there's only 6 picks. There's only 6 teams before us. So if one team does something a little out of the ordinary, somebody's sliding through that you didn't expect, whether that's an Abdul Carter, whether it's a Shedeur Sanders, whether it's Mason Graham. So Mason Graham slides. Do you think, not what you would do, Tigo, but do you think the Jets salivate and can't pass it up?
No.
He's not supposed to be here. We're going to grab him.
I think that if he doesn't make it his like ceiling, like the earliest that he goes is 5, right, to the Jaguars. But if he doesn't go to the Jaguars, I think he falls out of the top 10. And this is not like a shot at him as a player or as a prospect. Right. It's just a conversation about positional value, like need. And the biggest thing is I love Mason Graham.
Yeah.
And if you guys go back and you watch like the episodes that we did at the beginning of the year, I talked about Mason Graham to the point where you got mad at me, GreenBean. Because I loved Mason Graham. And this was before I started doing like a deep dive into Mason Graham, the player. It was just turning on Michigan and watching him blow up like on the TV, right? Like that's what I was watching. The problem is that where does he play on the New York Jets? People got to really take that into consideration. And this is the thing that I think most casual fans don't do, is that they don't realize that it's like, okay, just because it says edge rusher does not mean that like they're all the same.
Yeah.
Because, for example, Jermaine Johnson and Will McDonald are both edge rushers, and they're technically both outside linebackers.
Yeah.
Neither one of their skill sets are the same.
Yeah.
The situations that you would use Jermaine Johnson in are not the same situations that you would use Will McDonald in, even though they're the same player or the same position. And I think too many people get lost in the weeds of that, especially on the interior. You already have a really, really damn good 3-tech in Quinnen Williams. Mason Graham is a really, really damn good 3-tech. You can't play 2 3-techs.
Well, you can, of course.
But but then you're just going to get run up the gut all year, like last year. Because it doesn't matter how good they are if the A gap is free every single play. So I love Mason Graham. But he doesn't fit schematically for what this team is trying to do and how they're trying to play. And so you're trying to shoehorn a player where the value just isn't there. And I think this is the more important thing, like you said, because if Mason Graham is there, it means other players got shuffled around. Other tier 1 players are going to be there. Who else got there? That's a really big question, because Mason Graham's elite, but like so is Tyler Warren, and so is like Armand Membu, and so is Tet McMillan. Like they're all going to be in that tier.
Yep.
And are they a bigger need than the interior defensive lineman who plays the same position?
You got the same. I was just going to say that. So you got the same tier of player. One's a need, one's not. One fills an actual need, one really doesn't. So what do you do? That should be the decision maker. I have that poll up there, but look at this comment from Garrick. He says, remember when we drafted McDonald and everybody collectively said who? Yeah, I do remember that. As a matter of fact, let me show you what it looked like right here on the Talking Jets draft stream, which will be live tomorrow right here, 7 p.m., an hour before the draft kicks off. O'Leary, Ryan, myself, the entirety of the draft. We will be live right here. This is what it sounded like in 2023 when we drafted Will McDonald.
Pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the New York Jets.
Come on!
Select Will McDonald, linebacker, Iowa State. Let's go!
Wow. All right.
What the hell just happened?
I didn't see that coming.
Yep. What the hell just happened? So we got to be...
GreenBean's reaction is priceless because he's lost for words.
Dude, me and O'Leary, the same face. And my son. Did you see my son there? Check this out.
Yeah. No, he's in the back. I see him in his wife beater.
Hey. He's got no wife. But look at the faces. It's like, let me see if I can.
Like even Ryan's reaction of just like, oh my, we know nothing about this guy.
Nothing. But it was like, but we said before it Is there one position that you don't want to see the Jets draft this year?
It was edge.
Edge.
Everybody said edge.
Edge. Here, look at O'Leary. It's so funny. All of us. Same face. Wait. Look at us. Look at O'Leary. Look at that is real shit. That was real. So hopefully we don't see something like that today. Or I'm sorry, this year, tomorrow. Tomorrow! I can't believe it. It's finally here, everybody. So let me.
It's gonna be very hard to put us in that position.
What's that?
I think it's gonna be very hard to put us in a position where, like, what the hell was that pick? Because, like, we don't know who these guys are. There's a lot of places that they can go and it can make sense.
Lots of places they can go and it would make sense. Let me see what they think about the Mason Graham idea in the chat. I asked the same question. If he slides, should the Jets take him? Should the Jets do it? 41% said absolutely, Tigo. No effing way came in second with 31%, but 26% of our chat said they're a little teapot.
Yeah,
I don't know what that's all about. Was that what you voted for?
Yeah.
I'm a little teapot.
Because it's not a no effing way. That was my reaction. It's just like, it's not absolutely, but it's also not no effing way. It's just like, come on, really?
Yeah, and it's interesting.
Short arm 3-tech when we already have a really good 3-tech?
Yeah, but it's like, but look, if we draft him, he's going to get on the field and he's going to make an imp. You know, like they'll figure it out and they'll use him and we're going to like him and the whole thing. But it's what's best for the team, right? What's best for the team? Hamza said, yeah, non-committal. He voted for the teapot too, I'm sure. I thought he would say absolutely. Who knows? Maybe. But so, yeah, like, look, Billy says you don't pass Mason Graham up if he's there. You'll be the laughing stock of the draft. And it's funny, Billy, because I could not disagree more.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't see this at all.
Now, let's talk about another guy that we were talking about weekly for 2 months. And then all of a sudden, we don't. And that is the wide receiver, Tet McMillan, Tigo.
Yeah.
Now, is he off the board for us? Nope. I mean, is he still the wide receiver one in your eyes? Would you rather see Ibuka? Would you rather see? I got this sneaking suspicion. I don't know where it came from. I have no real logical foundation for this thought, but I have a sneaking suspicion that the Jets, if and when they go wide receiver, that they're going to want to go with a shifty slot, work the middle of the field type of a guy, quicker rather than the big contested catch, 6'3+ wide receiver. So I don't know. I got that sneaking suspicion that they might be looking that way. The Luther Burdens, the Isaiah Bonds of the world. Those, even like the 6-footers, 5'11 and 3/4 kind of guys like the Ibukas of the world. But Tet McMillan, is he out? What's going on? Is he still the guy? If the Jets run that card up, are you going to be psyched? What do you feel about this guy?
I think the question needs to be who was off the board, right? Because like if you went Tet over like Membu and Warren, let's say like Membu and Warren are both on the board, and you went Tet, I really like Tet, but I start having some questions about like schematically what you're going to be doing on offense, right? And because like I don't want to get like negative about it, but like we know that Justin Fields is a one read and run quarterback. And if it's up to me, I want Garrett Wilson to be that one read every single time. And if you can get him to be get him to go from one read to a two read guy, a wide receiver, and then a check down and then run, I would like that to be in a perfect world, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, or Garrett Wilson, Tyler Warren. Like that to me is the best way to operate this offense. But like we saw it in the chat, if it goes, and this is like totally a realistic possibility, if it goes Membu Warren 5'6", or like Warren Membu 5'6", and you're sitting there at 7, I am totally like, yeah, no, Ted McMillan is phenomenal because he's gonna help in the run game. He's gonna be a target in the red game in the red zone, and you're making this pick not necessarily like, yes, he's gonna help you in year 1 and he's gonna give you some yards, but like he's a force positive in other parts of the game as well, where I just don't think those other guys would be in year 1. And I love me some like Luther Burden and some Emeka Ibuka. And while I think that 4 or 5 years from now, Matthew Golden is probably going to be the best wide receiver in this class.
You think?
I think so. Absolutely.
I don't think so at all.
Oh, I think he's
like
clear.
Matthew Golden. I don't like
I
him.
think he's clear.
I think he's a puss.
I think year 1 and year 2 are going to be like, but this is the reason why he's not going to go in the top 10 and why you can't take him at 7 and like why we can't have this conversation because he's going to need time to develop the NFL game. But like, that's the whole thing. And I think that's a more interesting conversation to happen is not necessarily about Tet, but what happens in the draft if it goes 5 Tyler Warren, 4 Armand, 5 Tyler Warren, 6 Armand Membu, which is the 2 guys that we've been linked with all off season. What do you do at 7 at that point? Because I think that's a more interesting conversation because obviously, well, do you just go Tet McMillan? Do you go Mason Graham? Do you pivot and do you go Kelvin Banks or the LSU offensive lineman? I forget his name. Will Campbell, did one of the big 3, one of the big 2 make it that far? Is that why we got to this situation? Did Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter make it there? What do you think? Not what would you do, but you get to 7. Warren is gone. Membu is gone. What do you do?
Well, and that's interesting too. I know, but I yeah. See, Ted is an interesting one. Like Mark is saying, and this is kind of the rub, you know what I mean? Like his ability to, and this is where coaching comes in, but right? His ability to get off the line. Because like, look, if you have that mark on you, just go and press him, and he's going to, you essentially take him out of the offense. Then they have to create plays for him, with movement behind the line and all that kind of stuff. If you have to do that for him and he can't work his way past that, that's a really scary rub to have for a top 10 pick. It just is. And when you use the 7th overall pick on a wide receiver, dude, they gotta be instant, number 1 wide receiver level. Like, look, we got G-Dubs, and I'm all happy about that. We're looking for a wide receiver too, but he's got to, if you're using a top 10 pick on him, he's got to be on that par. And if he's not, you don't do it. That's my thought. You wait till the 2nd and get, pull from that pool. So it's a little scary for me. I really like Tet McMillan. Truth is, I haven't gone back and re-upped, with watching some stuff on him. So I'm just like kind of still with my former knowledge. But anyway.
But I think this is one of the issues, and I don't want to get too bogged down in this. We're like, I hate this conversation. Yeah, that I hate this conversation is like separation can be done multiple ways because like you don't need to be fast to separate. Like, because AJ Brown, I think last year was one of the worst separators in the NFL. On a yard, like separation, average separation per yards, I think was under 2 yards of separation, which is not a lot. That ranks bottom of the league. He had over 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns. Like George Pickens and Brandon Ayuk don't separate all that effectively. T. Higgins, Alec Pierce, Drake London, Cortland Sutton, Mike Evans. These are all DK Metcalf. These are all guys that aren't elite separators, right? Because like you have your elite separators and guys like freaking oh man, I can't think of anybody. Like Zay Flowers was an elite separator last year. Right? But his game is different.
Yeah.
We got to stop having these conversations like where it's black and white.
Well,
the
no
separation, dude, he is long. If he puts his ass into a corner, the corner's not getting to his hands. That
Yeah,
is
but
that's
again,
the conversation.
But looking at our offense and what the quarterback does and doesn't do, if you delay that,
No, yeah.
you know what I mean? All right, we're
Separate
going to jump
conversation.
into a mock Tigo. Here's how we're going to pick who picks first. Okay, I do. Okay, what do you think of that? Was that all right?
I absolutely hate it because you're going to make the
All right.
wrong pick, GreenBean, like you always do.
All right.
Because you didn't predict Will
Here we
McDonald. So
go.
how could we ever trust you again?
That's right. I had no clue, baby. All right, so we're going to do a quick lightning mock. See what Nightbot's saying, the alias you set. Okay, great. So here we go. We're only entertaining trades for the first 2 rounds. Okay. Okay, Tigo?
Yep.
Here we go.
Let's do it.
All right. The Jets got offered to go to 15. We get 46 and 118. To 20, we get 51 in next year's second. Arizona 16, 47 in next year's second. What was this? I'm going to take that one. I'm going to take this trade. I'm going back to 16. I don't care who's on the board, but I do see Tet's gone. I see Membu's gone. I see Campbell's gone. I'm going to accept it, Tigo.
That's the right move.
And that's it. I'm only going to take one trade.
Oh, you got to make the
one.
pick.
Oh, that's hilarious. So here's
we
what
almost
I'm
got him.
going to do, everybody. We're going to take a look. Come on, for God's sakes. Doesn't let me do it when it's big. All right, so there it goes. Look at this. Mason Graham, they traded up for Mason Graham. He was there. We got the trade because Mason Graham slid. So we got Ward, Carter, Hunter, Membu. Look at all this. Mason Graham, Genty. Look who's Shador Sanders is still there.
He's going to
Crazy.
slide,
Okay.
GreenBean. Got a hot take. He doesn't go before the Steelers.
Crazy.
Think he goes
All
to
right.
20. I think he goes at 21.
All right, here's what I'm going to do.
Don't be a dum-dum.
I traded back to 16.
Don't be a dum-dum.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to take Colston Loveland.
Yes,
That's what I think is
GreenBean!
going to happen. That's what I'm going to do.
GreenBean, we can end the draft there. I love this. I love this mock draft.
All right, so here's
It's
your
phenomenal.
trade offers. You got the Browns want you to go all the way to 94 and give them 145, but they'll give you a first next year, Tigo.
Oh, I might do that.
So the Jets are offered pick 63 and 66, but you got to throw in your kicker pick.
I might take next year's one.
You want to counter them and get something for this year or what?
I might get next. I don't even want to counter it. Like this is I want to do this. I want to do this.
Oh my gosh. Okay. He's accepting the trade. We lost our second round pick.
The one?
Well, I got us a second. So this is now my pick. So look, I know you did great. Great job.
Oh,
see, and that's what having the extra second, 3 picks or what is it? Jesus, 5 picks later, 4 picks later, that affords you that opportunity.
That's why I did it.
So here you go.
Now, because now we have an extra one next year.
I wanted what's his name? I wanted the tackle. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to slightly reach. Let me see something here. What did we get? So we got 73 is our next pick. Okay. So I am going to. Do I want to do this or do I want to do this? Let me see the tackles that are there. Hold on the defensive side. Nope. Okay. I'm going to do a reach because I don't think he's going to be there in the real world. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to take my guy. I'm going to take Trapillo. I'm not going to play the sim game and who's, you know what I mean? All right. So no more trades. We only did one each. Okay.
Yep.
So here's your board, Tigo.
Show me the wide receivers, please.
Jack Besh.
Ooh, Besh is on the board. I love me some Jack Besh. Can I also see the safeties, please?
Fantastic thinking. Makuba's there. Winston's there. Ransom's there. Oh man, they're all there. This is a great place to be if you want a safety right now. I'm going to tell you.
I think I want to take Makuba here, right?
I love Makuba.
I think I want to take Makuba here because I like the wide receivers. I like me some Jack Besh. Don't get me wrong. But like Makuba comes in and immediately just kicks out and upgrades our defense.
He does. Just slight concern, though, is that we have Cisco, and you want to make sure you're getting the compliment. I love Makuba. But I'm just saying, I shouldn't talk. This is your pick.
Yeah, but I think that you can go into it and like he's a deep corner. Like Makuba's a deep corner, but I think Makuba's a better deep corner right now than Cisco is. I'm sorry, a deep safety, not deep corner.
While you're thinking, Jake jumps in. What's up, Jake? Happy draft week, boys. Almost sad it becomes real. Fantasy Jets off season is my highlight every year. Excited. I know. I hear you. I do second that thinking, Jake. It's almost sad, but not yet. We got 3 more days to be excited. It's going to be great. We got 8 picks. It's going to be fun. Thank you, Jake. What do you got, Tigo?
Can I just see the DTs? If there's anyone that screams to me, I might go DT.
Farman?
Nah, do it.
What do you want?
Give me the safety.
Makuba?
Give me Makuba.
Nicely done. All right, while we're doing that, no more trades. So where are we? We're at pick 94. This is the Tigo. He got a first next year and pick 94. So we got our safety. We didn't get an offensive tackle yet, did we?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, I did. I grabbed him. Right. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. Yeah, that might be my guy. You like Tez Johnson?
No.
You don't? Why not?
I'm terrified of a guy who's that slim.
I know he's a little bit. I know a little too much.
I like him, but I'm just so scared of a guy that slim. And the other guys that are on the board, all like this is why I went the safety, because I don't like the safety class past like a certain number and like pick. And like Makuba's like the last one I feel like really kind of comfortable with. Torrey Horton, Savion Wilton are all guys that I look at and I go, I can get behind that. Dante Thornton are all guys that I can get behind. I'm going to do
something crazy. Again, we're not looking at the sim numbers and where they're going to hang around to. I'm going to go ahead and grab my guy. I'm taking Dante Thornton right here. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, and like to me, I like that pick more than Tez because like, you know what really turned me off to Tez is what happened to Tank Dell this year in Houston. Like tiny, small, and his leg exploded. And it's just like,
oh yeah.
You know, and it's just like, it sucks when that happened.
All right. Red Bean checking in. Pant legs and shirt sleeves on uniforms keep getting shorter. Jerseys are sleeveless and pants are mid-thigh. How soon before uniforms are tanks and undies? Not soon enough. Soon. I can't wait, Red Bean.
Banana hammocks.
That's right. Banana hammocks and fucking tube tops. Let's do it. And helmets. I'm in, baby. I love it, Red Bean. All right, Tigo. It's pick 162. We got 3 left after this, or 2 left after this one. We went with Colston Loveland, Ozzie Trapillo, Andrew Makuba, and Dante Thornton. This is an interesting draft, to say the least.
Can you show me the DTs, please?
You got Pegues on there. Elijah Roberts.
Pegues is screaming to me.
Yep, I love it.
I think Pegues is going to be where I'm going to go. JJ. Yeah, big boy right up in the middle. I think he actually weighs more than that.
Look at this. One of his knocks, they say, is he's got to avoid his over-aggression. We can work on that.
And I don't think he's 309. I think he's closer to 320.
Let's see. Hold on.
I think he's closer to 320. Might have gotten slim for the combine.
Let me see here. I got him at 324.
See?
Yep. Yeah,
give me a big fatty to just eat up centers and guards.
I love it. It's a great pick. Was that your guy?
Yep.
There he goes. We got ourselves a defensive tackle. You got to, dude, I'm telling you, if that's the knock, he's going to have to work on his over-aggression. That I can work on that. You want the animal that you got to contain. You don't want a guy that you got to try to somehow knock aggression into. You know what I mean?
I'm not going to try to contain that. Not for a defensive lineman.
Go ahead. Let it
go ahead and kill that guy.
That's right. So I want to look at the linebackers. Here we are at pick 186. I like Bassa.
Like
See how big he is
Bassa.
Yeah, he needs to be in the 240s. That's where I got to get him. Let's see here. Let me see what their big board looks like.
Do you believe that we can fix tackling?
Tackling
fix missed tackles?
What's his missed tackle rate?
No. Because I was going to say Kobe King is 245. If you were looking at linebackers.
Yeah. Penn State linebacker U. Let me see here. We got a safety. Should we double dip at? Let me see something. I think I'm ready to double dip. Oh, Mitchell Evans. There he is. I love it. I love me some Mitchell Evans. You like him?
I do. I don't know. I think the double dip is.
I'm ready. Why? Wait, what do you mean? I'm ready.
Because
186.
The way that I look at it is like, do you need another tight end or another wide receiver, or do you actually need a third linebacker?
Yeah, I do.
Because we don't have one.
But are these guys that?
And the next pick is a kicker. So this is our last pick.
Are they? You know what I want to do?
I'm taking Fitzgerald. So this is the last pick.
Yeah. Okay. Then
you gotta feel something.
I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna let Jamin Davis and Zaire Barnes prove to me that they are or aren't worth keeping, and I'm gonna go with Willie Lampkin right here. That's what I'm gonna do, and get our pipeline going on the interior offensive line at 186. So you're
taking
the kicker. All right, here he comes. You want Fitzgerald? You said.
Yeah.
They got him way down here at the 562nd ranked player in the draft. Ryan
Idiots.
Fitzgerald. I know, they're silly.
Idiots.
All right.
I actually don't know if he's all that good or if he's not good or anything like that. He's the guy that I have no idea how to. It was him, or if he wasn't on the board, it was going to be Borgales. Both of them are worth of picks from what I can read from a score sheet.
Here we go. We're going to do some guys. Drop your letter grades in there for this one. Let me make it a little bigger so the old fellas like myself can read it. Here we go. There we go. So we started the draft with a trade slide, or we slid back to 16, got ourselves an extra second round pick, which afforded us the opportunity to use one of those, just like we were talking about earlier, to get a first next year. So look at this. We're going into next year's draft with 2 firsts and 2 seconds. If the Justin Fields experiment doesn't work out, we have the perfect amount of ammunition to get anybody we want in next year's quarterback class. So we followed that with taking Colston Loveland, the tight end out of Michigan. We followed that with our new fresh second round pick, Tigo. We grabbed offensive tackle Ozzie Trapillo. He's our penciled in starter on the right side of the line. We followed that one with the safety Andrew Makuba out of Texas. Fixed our safety room. Then we went and got Garrett Wilson some help, and his new partner Dante Thornton out of Tennessee. Big, fast, strong wide receiver that's going to take the top off of defenses for us fast. JJ Pegues, the defensive tackle that they said he's just too aggressive, Tigo. We don't like him. He's just too aggressive. We took him at 162, followed that with a pipeline developmental interior offensive guard, Willie Lampkin out of North Carolina. And then finally, we got ourselves a ball sack and said, you know what? We're tired of perusing the scrap heaps of the NFL and undrafted free agent pool for a kicker. We're
kickers who got fired for a reason.
Right. We are going to commit and fix this damn position. one of the most valuable positions on the damn team. We're going to use pick 207 and grab Ryan Fitzgerald again, capping that with a first and second round pick next year. I want to see the letter grades. Beefy says B+ because you got the first and second. Really? You don't like the picks? No other letter?
There are some of these picks where I'm not a fan of them, right?
Okay.
And I think, but like overall,
well, hold on. We'll do yours. I want your evaluation pure. Hold on. Just want to see what people are thinking. RB said one of those was a wasted pick. Let's see.
Ryan Fitzgerald, he believes, is a wasted pick.
Silly. Don't believe the hype, man. Fix the fucking kicker.
If we were gonna, why is Folk a free agent then? Like, someone explain that. Like,
he's 96.
Like, if he's so good, why is he a free agent? Why didn't they keep him? Why are they also moving on?
I know. Anthony says, dude, a first and second next year makes it all worth it. Let's see. Jake says a B. Wrong verb. This is an A+++ draft, dudes. Isaac gives it an A. Rover Bet with a B. JJ Hamza, it's a D. I'm going to start calling you Grumpy JJ. He didn't like it. We traded back. Mason Graham was on the board. Hey, Mason Graham or a second and first next year. I'll take it. You know what I mean? Colston Loveland and a first and second next year or Mason Graham. Ryan says an A-. We got another B+ from JT. Larry says A. JJ Hamza says A with the picks. All right, there you are, JJ. Welcome back. Let's see. And look, that's a great point. The first we got next year is Cleveland.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
I was totally cool with skipping out, like going back that far.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Good thinking.
The first made it.
Mark Sacchetti with an A. Red Bean says, how much does this draft weigh? Need 2,000 pounds minimum. Right.
250 in Loveland, 300 in Trapillo, about 200 in Makuba, 225 in Thornton, 325 in Pagui. I don't know how much Lampkin weighs, and Ryan Fitzgerald, what, like a bag of peanuts?
Yeah, he's 56 pounds.
That's with his pads on.
Real quick, Jake says, give over aggressive to me and GreenBean. That's our guy. Make him a fatty, a defensive tackle, and it's a love story. Right. I love Lampkin. Dom never let me because he's short. I know. Dom's not the big Lampkin guy. I almost took the other one. Who was it? Clay. Anyway. So thank you, Jake. What is your letter grade, Tigo? Give me a breakdown real quick of the guys.
I think it's a B. And I think, like, here's the saving grace is the 2026 first and 2026 second. That, to me, is the saving grace. Because, like, of the picks that we made, I'm really only, like, super big fans of, like, 3 of them.
Which ones?
Like, Colston Loveland. I am a massive, massive fan of Colston Loveland. Like, I know this is crazy and it's not going to happen, but, like, if Tyler Warren is off the board and you can't trade back, like, I think Colston Loveland should be in play at 7. I really like Colston Loveland. And a lot of people are like, oh, you got to double dip a tight end because he's not a good blocker. And take this with a grain of salt. But, like, he graded as a better blocker than Warren did on PFF. Marginally, but, like, he did. Like, they're like, Colston Loveland is a stud. I love that. Dante Thornton, because he got a big, like, X-type wide receiver. Big, tall, aggressive. Love that. And then Ryan Fitzgerald. Like, all of the other picks, like, they're fine. I don't necessarily love them. I'm not the biggest Ozzie Trapillo fan. I don't necessarily have the belief that a lot of these, like a lot of you guys have on him to be a right tackle, but, like, that's fine.
I love him.
Makuba's a good player.
Yeah.
But like you said, like, he comes in, one of them's going to have to play strong safety.
Yep.
I would put Cisco there because you took this kid and I think he's better than Cisco. But there is that conversation. Big aggressive DT it's never going to be a bad pick, but you could replace him with like 30 other names and it'd be a fine pick. I know nothing on, but I don't care about any of that because what happens is we objectively made the team better. And in next year's draft class, when the quarterbacks are going to come up, you're going to have a top 10 pick in that Cleveland pick, your first round pick, and 2 seconds. And there's not a team on the planet that's going to say no to a package from the Jets if they're coming up for a quarterback, because we're just going to have the most ammunition. Do you want 2 firsts this year for us to come up to get our guy? the quarterback that you're not going to take anyway? Let us know, because we can do that. We can make that move right the hell now.
Right.
And so that's why, to me, it's like an A minus B plus somewhere in there.
I can't. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be an A. It's got not. I hear you, but let me say this. When you look, number one, I agree with Colston Loveland, especially at 16. Like you, again, you're talking about getting a first-round pick and Colston Loveland. Dude, he's a first-round pick. So you add, that's a slam dunk. I mean, slam dunk.
Yep.
That's more than you accomplish in most drafts in and of itself. Colston Loveland and an additional first next year. That alone. We add to it another second next year. Like you said, we have so much ammo. And if Justin Fields works out, Jesus Christmas, you got 2 firsts and 2 seconds to really knock this shit out of the park next year. Ozzie Trapillo will be our starter on the right side. I think it's great. It's a fantastic pick. Makuba, I'm right there with you. I like Makuba. Don't love him as the strong safety. You know what I mean? I think we could have done better there. I probably would have went Winston. I liked your thinking at safety there. Dante Thornton, dude, little bit of a reach, but I don't care. I think he's going to be a great player. Again, we're not looking for him to be wide receiver 1. He's just going to be a piece. You got Colston Loveland, Garrett Wilson, the running backs, and Dante Thornton now with who I believe Malachi Corley is going to show everybody some stuff this year.
Yep.
Pegues, dude, we're at 162. Fantastic pick at 162. Getting the developmental offensive lineman in there, great. Fucking fixing the kicker. I mean, this is an A-plus draft for me. A-plus. I see, again, could have went some other directions with some things, but again, the guys that we got, I think, are beautiful. Jake checking in at the end says, very worried that Membu and Warren are gone at 7. We take Loveland then? I think I do, just because Dom told me 2 months ago he's Laporta/Kincaid. Dude,
that's such a bad. I don't like that comp.
Why not? Kincaid, sure.
No, because Kincaid, because Loveland's not just a pass catcher.
But he's no. Let's be real. We were actually just looking at him in the Beanbagger Discord before this. His blocking still, he still needs to work on his blocking. He's getting pushed around.
Oh no, totally. I'm not saying that
he's got a lot. He's got a lot to work on.
But Kincaid would avoid blocking. Like, he just didn't want to do it. Loveland's not good at it, but he's willing. He's trying. He's in there giving his all. He's just bad at it. You just got to coach him up. Get him in. We actually might have a real tight end coach now. As much as I loved what's his name.
See. No, dude, let me just point this out to everybody before we go. Our tight end coach that we loved and we gave rookie Jeremy Rucker to, and we gave Kenny Yeboah to, and we hoped would, with the whole Conklin experiment, that guy, we all loved him. Hit it. He's currently unemployed. Nobody hired him.
Developed 0 tight ends in his tenure with the New York Jets. Not a single one of our tight ends got better.
Not a single guy looked better because they came here when they came here. As a matter of fact, you could argue that they regressed. So, again, our offensive line coach last year, he's an assistant offensive line coach. Our offensive coordinator last year is a fucking wide receivers coach somewhere right now. Our tight end coach is literally unemployed. Nobody hired Ron Middleton. No one.
Yep.
32 teams. He could have got hired as a quality assurance. Nope. He's done nothing in his 15-year NFL career, guys. And that's the truth of it. So lots to look forward to. I think we can only go up. Swamp Ranger checking in. We can't operate with the idea that a team in the top 5 will trade with us in 2026. Picking that high means they suck ass and need a quarterback like us. Well, but listen, if it doesn't work,
the Panthers did it.
Yeah, of course. And just because you suck doesn't mean that they need a quarterback. I hear you. It's sound thinking, but you got 2 firsts and 2 seconds. If you want your quarterback, let's say Arch Manning is there, and that's the guy you want, just as an example. And you're sitting at pick because the Jets, if we're looking for a quarterback, things didn't go right. So we're in the top 10. So let's say we're at pick 7 and you're asking to go up to pick 1. And you say, I'm going to give you pick 7, wherever the Cleveland pick is. Let's say it's pick 9. I'm going to give you 7 and 9 and 2 seconds to get up to. Dude, you can get it done. And not even have to give picks next year, the following year. You can get it done if you want to. That's more than enough ammo. I hear you, Swamp Ranger, but you can get it done.
And here's the thing.
Year.
That's the whole point. We're also looking at, because he brings up the Panthers did it and they're still paying for it 3 years later. Yeah, totally. But you know who else made a dumb trade and they're still employed by the team that made the trade?
Oh,
Cleveland. They made the worst trade in NFL history. Yeah, they might double dip and try to get the top 2 spots of the worst trades in NFL history. Can't predict what teams are going to do. Cole Strange went in the first round.
That's right. You never know. It's so funny when
Alex Leatherwood went in the first round.
We say that all the time. Like, that guy's never going to be there, blah, blah, blah. Dude, you never know. The draft is crazy. With that said, we're going to get out of here. You know what I'm going to do, though, in a few minutes? I'm going to go do I'm going to jump back on in a little bit and talk some draft in a little while on GreenBean channel. I'm going to just wrap up the night a little bit later. So I'm going to come back in a little while. I hope you guys will hang out. But Tigo, this was a fun one. I'm excited. I'm sure we'll be chatting and talking throughout this weekend. But thanks for hanging. This was fun. I'm excited, buddy.
My
excited.
Dayquil is starting to wear off, so I'm going to go pass out.
You're going to go pass. There you go. Dayquil or NyQuil, you mean?
Dayquil.
Oh, your Dayquil's wearing off.
My Dayquil is wearing off. I'm about to go take a bunch of NyQuil and have some cough syrup-induced fever dreams.
There you go. That sounds like a plan. With that all said, guys, have a great rest of your evening. We will see you next time.